All right, so listen, one of the hardest things, or probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, was give a diagnosis of breast cancer to my wife while receiving it as a husband. It's been tremendously challenging for me to be able to keep some things under wraps over the course of the last 2 years just because of everything that she's gone through. But honestly, how I felt the last 2 years, who cares about what I'm feeling, which is why I kind of kept it under wraps. I want you guys to hear from her. You guys have all asked a number of great questions, so we're just going to get right to it. A couple years ago, when we came home that day in December from Big Bear, and I told you what was up and what was on that computer screen and what it said, what was going through your mind?
I mean, a lot. Shock, really. Shock, and then my kids. That's really all that went through my mind.
What was the hardest thing to get through of all the things that happened?
I think like the physical part was difficult in itself, but it's more so like I don't think it's an ever-ending process. I think it's like always on your mind, always thinking about, especially since it came back a second time. So I think the second time gave me even more anxiety. So I probably think about it a lot more now than I did even after the first diagnosis.
And we didn't share everything with you guys. What you guys don't know is during our process, she had the initial diagnosis. She had the double mastectomy. We were told to kind of start some hormone therapy to try to calm down that estrogen. It wasn't tolerated all that well at first. So we stopped it. Several months later, maybe 3 or 4 months later, she felt another lump in the same exact area as before. And we had another biopsy, and it turned out that that was cancer too. So she went back to the operating room to have that removed.
Right. And I think I would clarify that I don't think it was necessarily not tolerated well. I think when you start anything like that, it can be difficult on your body for anyone. So I wouldn't want to say that to discourage other people in my position from trying it. My whole reason for not doing it was we started talking about, are we ready? Would we want to have another baby in the future? So I wasn't ready to make that decision. So that's why I didn't start it. So now that I'm on it, I think actually it's going really well. And yeah.
And what we're talking about tamoxifen, right, which is an estrogen receptor inhibitor. So the other thing that also happened is after she had that second surgery, really third surgery, because she had the one surgery to remove the breast tissue, then she had the reconstruction, and then she had this surgery. She had to have radiation for 30 days. And I've never really asked her about that. What and how was radiation?
I actually think I did really well with that. I know that it can make people really tired, and I did get tired, but luckily, like, kind of fell around the holidays, so kid activities were at kind of a minimum, and, I could just kind of curl up on the couch. Definitely was a little painful. I mean, it makes your skin very raw, and yeah, I mean, it's not pretty. But, it was fine.
And
I did 35 rounds.
Yeah, 35 days, right?
Days.
35 days of radiation.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask why we do this and why I've included her on the journey is I don't know, I think I want people to understand that I'm a physician, but I'm also a husband, a father, a brother, a son. I'm all of these things. So I ask you, why have you been willing to share your story? Because you haven't just shared it here. I mean, you've shared it online too. Mm-hmm. Tell me about why you decided that was important to you.
Well, I think it was important to me because it was so shocking. And I'm young. I mean, I was 36 and then 38. And that's just like, I would have never expected that, nor did I think, even after my initial biopsy, that I was like 95% certain that it was nothing. So I think just like, kind of raising awareness and then, just being open about it for my own kids. Like, I want them to be aware, and I think, talking is therapy.
And if there's a piece of advice that you could offer anyone who's going through breast cancer diagnosis or going through feeling a lump on their breast, what would you offer them? What would you say?
I mean, first and foremost, be an advocate for your own health care. You know, people are going to tell you it's nothing, and don't stop. Like, keep, you know, even though my doctor was great in the sense that she was like, it's probably nothing, but let's go do this. It's still, you know, was money out of our pocket and all these things that are a deterrent to a lot of people. So I would just say, spend it. You know, it's worth it. And yeah, I guess that's the number one thing.
Look, I really appreciate my wife sharing her story with you guys. I think that being able to impact more than one person in a positive way, helping people get through things, I think is one of my wife's greatest traits. And that's why we wanted to share it with you. I love her. It's been a lot. We love our family. We're going to continue to grow older together. Appreciate you guys being here. And we'll see you next time. Or I will, I guess.
Well, there's not going to be a next time, so.
All right.
All right, that's
Cool.
a cut.